We're in the middle of the blame game, ladies and gentlemen. Now I gotta talk about it. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Tomorrow, I've got crossover with Locked On Chargers ahead of Monday night's game. I may have a very special guest on Friday that I'm super excited about and working on for almost 2 years now. Hopefully, we'll have that happen for Friday. But there's a lot to discuss before then. Trade options for the Cardinals. I had Mina Kimes on a couple weeks ago, I think at this point, and I threw out a couple names of players that are on teams that are flailing in different ways. And one team just traded their best wide receiver, and it just sparked this. I got to do 5 minutes on this. So I'm doing that in the final segment. Drew Petzing under a microscope. I told you I would do it. I'm going to do it. Middle of the blame game, though. Offense versus defense. Who's more to blame? Is it the offense and Drew Petzing? Is it the defense and Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis? Is it Monty Ossenfort's fault because he didn't bolster the roster? We're in this. What is it called? Where water spins. I'm not going to use a toilet reference. I don't know. Whatever it is. We're in a spin cycle. Let's do that. We're in a spin cycle of blame gameness instead of looking at the Chargers, looking at the things that happened positively this year, and looking at the overarching thing that this team wasn't a playoff team going into this season. So people say, oh, well, the horror that they're 2-4 to start the horror. 5 out of the 6 games they've played were against top offenses in the NFL through 6 weeks. Okay? So, yes, it's not good. And yes, it should be expected. Well, why is it expected? The Cardinals lose all the time. Why haven't they changed? Monty Ossenfort is doing the New England way, and they don't have the talent and all that. For the amount of positivity that was infused after the 49ers win, it's been buried a million times more with vitriol since the Green Bay Packers loss. While understandable after the performance on Sunday at Lambeau, the amount of who's to blame is a little silly at this point. I'm not saying one side is more to blame than the other. I put a poll out on Twitter. As I'm recording this podcast, the offense got 60% of the votes between who's to blame, the offense or defense, which is a choice. And I understand the reasoning behind it as well. You know, they added all this to the roster. The offense should be leading the charge and not averaging less than 20 points a game. Understood. And cause reaction. Defense can't stop anybody during large portions of the season. The offense has to play a different offensive game when they don't go down and score a touchdown in the first possession of the game, which is the first time they didn't do that in Green Bay. And we saw what happened. The defense, as I've mentioned, you know, and as you, as smart everydayers have watched, they blanked the Lions and then the 49ers in both second halves of those games. So the side of it's the offense's fault because the defense is playing out of their shorts compared to what we should be witnessing for every second of every game. There's your argument there. And then for those saying it's the defense's fault, well, the defense has no talent and everybody's hurt. So it's obviously the defense's fault just by default. Default. I'm in a weird mood today. So that's where it is. Back and forth. Just playing tennis or pickleball or whatever the hell the kids are playing nowadays. Back and forth of not looking towards the future, looking at right now and pointing fingers. And it's a difficult cycle to get out of. Because now, even if the Cardinals beat the Jim Harbaugh-led Chargers Monday night at home, even if they beat them by 1 point or by 10, by 20, whatever it is, it's still going to look like fool's gold. It's still going to look like fool's gold. And that's because now it's everybody's upset. And not only are they upset, but they're arguing with each other as to why their being upset is more valid than your being upset. Realize how ridiculous that sounds? This, right now, right this second, is why having proper expectations going into the season would yield not being surprised if there were some bumps. And, of course, I take care of my everydayers. We did this already. The Cardinals, if the Cardinals win 7 games, that's 75% increase from last year, 75% increase from the year before. That's a win. And I'm sorry it's a small win, and I'm sorry it's not, oh, they're going to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs. I'm sorry it's not there. That's not where we're at witnessing this Arizona Cardinals organization. It just isn't. So understanding that going into the season, the over-under was 6.5 wins. The Cardinals are 33% of the way there through 6 weeks. They're on pace. Having every single veteran impact maker on defense getting hurt. I mean, not every. I mean, Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones both. And listen, I'll talk about this in the final segment, but both of those guys, one had played, I believe, over 4 seasons in a row, and the other had played over 2 seasons without missing a game. So Monty Osborne didn't sign injury-prone players. They both got hurt because it's football. And then Bijay Ojulari getting hurt in camp. Darius Robinson not playing yet. You know, these things are out of the control of everyone. So a defense, even if they had those players, would have been inferior, you would think, to the offense. And then the offensive side, well, it's Kyler Murray's fault. 100% it's Kyler Murray's fault. Okay. I think Kyler Murray is not a top 4 reason why the Cardinals are struggling. He's a top 5 reason, but he's not a top 4 reason. And like the amount of teams that struggle because of quarterback play, first and foremost, the Cardinals don't have that. Has it been perfect? No. But has it been like a point where it's so unnecessarily skewed to the Kyler Murray side that people just refuse to admit? No. Kyler Murray haters are going to hate Kyler Murray no matter what. Doesn't matter. If they're 6-0, yeah, well, they would be, they would have had a higher point differential if, stop. Kyler Murray is not a top 5 quarterback in this league. Kyler Murray is not a bottom 10 quarterback in this league. Most times, that's fine for a team to win. Kyler Murray's, all of his numbers, his metrics are in the top 10 or fringe top 10. Something's a mess. Everybody thinks it's something different than everybody else. When really, what I'll leave this Travis mockery of a segment, what I'll leave you with is the Cardinals weren't a playoff team going into this year. What the Cardinals showed during the first 5 weeks that they didn't show in week 6 was fight. They laid down in Lambeau. And if you take a small positive away from a 2-4 team that was embarrassed on the road this past Sunday, that was the exception to the rule of the Jonathan Gannon era and not the rule. Small wins you got to take for a team that wasn't destined for playoff success in 2024. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray should go on the road as the most loathed and finger pointed towards members of this organization as pertaining to why they're losing. I said I would talk about Drew Petzing, and we're going to do it next. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And it's not just a job board, man. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy. Over 10 million subscribers, billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy accessible for you, for all, for everyone. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And you're not playing against, it's so different than other daily fantasy sites. Like, number one, deposits and withdrawals super fast. Withdrawals you can get within 15 minutes. So say you hit one, you hit it for 100 times, you're like, oh, sweet, I want my money. Oh, it's not going to take 2 weeks. Oh, it's going to take 15 minutes. It's in my bank account. Awesome. It's the best. You can do less than 60 seconds it takes to make an entry. I mean, this is, and on top of that, like, this matters as well. It's just super smooth. Like, the app is super sexy. Like, all the things, super easy to find, super easy to search. If you have questions, like, everything is there for you on Prize Picks. And on top of all of that, they're giving away something awesome. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. I love the interaction on Twitter. I love the interaction in the comments on YouTube. Really, every day I'm more and more grateful going in the middle of my 8th season here as host of Locked On Cardinals. Drew Petzing, polarizing character, came in last year, was a darling, in my opinion. Boring offense that works. Run the ball, run play action. Criticized at times this year when you want a little bit more Bruce Arians just infused into it, taking some shots downfield, mixing it up. And I've been, slamming the table for just don't run on first down every single first down. We're running on first down to James Conner. Running on first down to James Conner. Halfback dive, halfback off tackle, running with James Conner, and then it gets stopped and you're 2nd and 10. And he spoke with the media yesterday, and not everybody has massive personalities. It's like in this day and age, and Kyler Murray went through this, where it's like, oh, you're not a charismatic and jovial looking person. You must be a jerk. You must be condescending when people ask you questions. That's stupid. More of a quiet dude. Answered some questions. He was asked about Marvin Harrison Jr.'s usage. He says, pretty much paraphrasing, we don't need to force the ball to him. And I agree with that. Like, when they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., the first thing I said was he is in a fantastic ecosystem and situation because he's not going to be the first option. He's not going to need to save the offense. This Arizona Cardinals offense, without Marvin Harrison Jr., would still be a top 15 offense. When the year's over, they're going to figure out their situation. Okay, they're not going to – if they average 18 points a game for the rest of the year, we're going to be having very, very different conversations. Very different conversations. And the Cardinals will probably win 1 or 2 more games, maybe. So let's not look at the first 6 weeks and be like, oh, this is 100% what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Stop. They don't need to force the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a rookie. He's played 5 games. Trey McBride is the most important pass catcher that the Arizona Cardinals have. I trust Michael Wilson more than I trust Marvin Harrison Jr. now. And you've got James Conner. Trey Benson got a little run when James Conner was sitting to start the second half last week. it's difficult, and this is something where I'll defend, and this is TBD, but for now I'm still defending Drew Petzing, where the floor is higher than what it once was. I could be completely wrong about this, and that's fine. That'll be, like the third time I've ever been wrong. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm still, and listen, I love having these conversations. So if you have the opposing view, please comments, DM me on Twitter. I will be getting to some topics that people have DM'd me. I'm sorry that I've been holding off on that. We just had too much fresh stuff that's happening right that second to talk about. With the defense being the state that it is, I'm going to sound like a broken record. With the defense being in the state that it is, that has to impact play calling. It has to on offense. The Cardinals can't afford to go 3 and out in 30 seconds. And I think that's part of the reason why they're running the ball on first down with so much regularity. And that's also not, an original like, oh my God, the Cardinals are running the ball on first down. They're changing the game. No, come on. I know that running the ball on first down is pretty normal. But it's like, okay, so you run play action on first down. Say the defense gives up a touchdown. You run play action on first down, incomplete. Or a catch for whatever, 5 yards. You run the ball on second, get stuff, third down. Incomplete on fourth. You're on the field for a minute, and then you have to bring that defense back on the field after giving up a touchdown. It's like, that's how things get out of hand. So while it's been boring and while it's been kind of – vanilla is not the right word because there is some flair in this offense. While it hasn't been as action-packed as we've seen at times against the Rams, et cetera, it served its purpose in the sense that it's keeping the defense off the field to rest. And I know that sounds like a wild excuse for mediocrity with the offense. And in some degree, it is, but it has reason behind it, if that's the case. And if that's not the case, then I'm wrong, which is fine. What I will say is, just like with Kyler Murray, these next 11 games are going to tell us everything we need to know about Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray. It's going to tell us everything we need to know. When facing adversity, through the first 5 weeks, the Cardinals have responded. Now, they were 2-3 in those games. Washington boat raced them. They were 1-score game against Buffalo, 1-score game against the Lions. And these aren't like participation trophies. They could have won those games. They were in those games when adversity struck. You still think, or I still think, that the exception to the rule was Sunday. We'll see on Monday night when Jim Harbaugh has completely changed the face of the Chargers. They're a real contender now. We'll see how the Cardinals respond. And I will say, again, to reiterate, we will find out everything we need to know about Kyler Murray and Drew Petzing at the end of this season. We'll know. And it's either going to be fun or it's going to be uncomfortable. And I guess we'll find out. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Trade options. Let's have some fun on a Wednesday. Damn it. Next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. So DoorDash saves my keister. I work from home. I've got a couple jobs. I work from home. I don't have time to get up and go grocery shopping 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. Sometimes I need something fast, and I don't want just stuff that traditionally delivers. Like DoorDash unlocks this world of possibilities for everything that's in your area. Like if you want in Phoenix or in Scottsdale, Julio's 2 is one of my favorite Mexican restaurants. Right around the corner. They don't deliver. DoorDash does. Postino, lighter fare. If I want to eat a little bit healthier, I can get that from DoorDash, and I can do it in the comfort of my own home. It's something that will allow you to have diversity in what you eat while not having to leave your house, which is pretty BA. Use promo code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Limited time offer. Terms apply. Promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. DoorDash, your door to game day greatness, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites. Must be 21 to order alcohol. Drink responsibly. Alcohol available only in select markets. Remember, use promo code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. And promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. Crossover tomorrow, Locked On Chargers. It's going to be fun. Monday night. I'm so close to getting someone that I've respected for a long time in the space. He's a quarterback guy. I've been working for a couple of years trying to get him. So hoping I can get him for Friday. If not, you're stuck with my big dumb face. And you're going to like it. Stupid. Go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button, man. If you want to go leave a review or reviews are left, that's cool. I'm just happy that you're here. Trade options. So the Hassan Reddick thing, I think, is lazy. The Hassan Reddick thing, I think, doesn't make sense. Personally. In my perfect world, you tell me that the Cardinals trade it's not banana sandwich, like it's not Looney Tunes, but it's also the world is the oyster of a team that has 90 plus million in cap next year and all their draft picks. If you trade for Hassan Reddick and Maxx Crosby, listen, Maxx Crosby, he's not going to be that expensive. He already got paid. He's a pass rusher. He's an elite pass rusher. I know they just signed Christian Wilkins, which makes this a little odd, which made the signing of Christian Wilkins odd to begin with. They're a perfect example. The Raiders were more than one player away on defense from becoming elite, and they gave Christian Wilkins $100 million, and it's not working. So the Hassan Reddick thing, I think, is lazy in the sense that he's going to want more money than the Cardinals will give. I feel like I'm a broken record here. I don't know why. Please trade for Hassan Reddick. Okay. That's not going to help this defense be top 20 in pass rush. That's maybe not true. That's not going to make this team be top 15, top 18. It won't. So you got to extend him. So 30, you extend him. He's going to want $25 million a year. He ain't going to get it. The whole homecoming story for Hassan Reddick makes zero sense in the sense that his time here wasn't great, and the owner's still the same owner. Now, the Jonathan Gannon, Nick Roush, I completely understand that. Okay, he's a DC linebackers coach. I get it. It's not going to move the needle enough to warrant the cash. Now, if they want to trade for two players, like if they really want to make a strength out of a weakness this season, one of them isn't going to do it unless it's Maxx Crosby, naturally. Younger. He's elite. He was my dark horse pick to win Defensive Player of the Year. Like the dude, and he's a good, like he'd be perfect for this team to add some teeth to this organization. He pushed his coach this past game, and then he tweeted out that, it's brotherly love. It's a coach player love or, whatever it was. And I don't think he's going anywhere, but that's why the fun part about this is listen, there are a lot of really good players on really bad teams. Like Dexter Lawrence is another one. The Giants are never going to give him up, but there are players who are going to cost a lot of money, who are already making a lot of money, that can make an immediate impact on this team. The Cardinals have the money to pay. So the one thing that I implore you, everydayers, please think of it like this. If you agree. I mean, you don't have to. We're not going to. This isn't like a cult. When you're thinking about the Cardinals acquiring players, and you get met with no, they need their draft capital, or no, that they're too expensive. You also get the player who's elite, who deserves the money. It's not like you're giving a player money and then they're going somewhere else. You get that player is on the Cardinals. You pay them and they work for the Cardinals. So it's going to cost too much. They don't have the money. They have the money. They need the talent. That's what the transactional nature of this sport is. So like, oh no, Maxx Crosby is going to cost too much money. Everybody's cost money that's elite. The reason why the Cardinals have so much money to spend is they don't have a whole lot of elite talent on this team. Like the back and forth of, oh, the Cardinals team is terrible. Well, they should trade for no, too expensive. With the Hassan Reddick situation, Hassan Reddick wants bonkers amount of money. And he's already lost a lot of money. The only way, and I've said this, I'll continue to say it, you're not giving him a 4-year deal. If he wants to sign a JJ Watt deal, 2 years, $40 million with 35 guaranteed, whatever it is, 2 years, I would do that. For a third-round pick, do it for sure. It's going to come down to the money. Oh, a third-round pick with an unknown. Hassan Reddick is better than an unknown third-round pick you're giving $18 million to, 1,000,000%. If he wants a 4-year deal with $100 million guaranteed, see ya. So the one thing that I wish from Monty Ossenfort is, and we're going to find this out as we get closer to the trade deadline, if they're going to be buyers or sellers, like, if he's going to stand pat, just say it. Just say it. Just say it. Be like, okay, that's something acceptance and move on. It's going to be a bad defense for the rest of the year. The one thing that I don't understand, and like, I know that the comments are going to get flooded with this. Like, how do you not understand this? The one thing I don't understand is, because the Cardinals are not going to be good this year, if that's how the trend continues, you're going to trade Budda Baker for like a third-round pick. And you know what you're going to need next year when the defense does level up? Budda Baker. It's like he got his elevators in his contract. He got what he wanted for 2024 when he held out before last offseason. I don't see a fire sale as something the Cardinals should do either. If you're going to stand pat, just stand pat. I would put it this way, and I'll leave you with this. I would much rather roll the dice that Budda Baker walks next offseason than trade him for a mid-round pick. They've got picks. They don't need to get any younger. They don't. If you want to trade somebody, trade Jalen Thompson. And let Dadrian Taylor-Demerson move into that strong safety role. That's a move I'd be okay with. Budda Baker is too important to this team for them just to punt because they're not going to win this year when all they're going to do next offseason and during the draft is load up on defense. And you know who's the most necessary person on this defense to oversee all of that moving forward for the next couple of years? Budda Baker. I have this very bad feeling that if they don't turn around before the trade deadline, the Cardinals are going to trade him for like a third-round pick. And I think it's going to be one of the biggest mistakes they can make. And we'll see. I mean, I just have this gut feeling. I guess we'll find out. Today's show was kind of this is where we are right now, what we're witnessing with fans, with the team, with the overall just in the valley. And I think we needed this therapy session to kind of have a conversation like, let's do better. Let's have proper expectations like we've had on this show and go into it every week with more information. And we'll have those conversations at the end of the year, whether Drew Petzing's the guy, whether Kyler Murray's the guy, if they need to be had. Until that point, Kyler Murray's not a bottom 15 quarterback, and you'll take that, in my opinion. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Crossover Thursday with Locked On Chargers tomorrow. I'll talk to you then.